Hey everybody, how's it going? This is episode 5 of dboTV. I'm going to call this one, oh wow, I've got water all over the place. I'm going to call this one Guardian Transit Authority. It's going to be a quick show, hopefully. So let's keep things moving and go for an intro, shall we? Alright, as always, my name is NCSU Duncan. This is dboTV, weekly show I like to put together. Talk about a week's worth of Destiny news. As I said earlier, I'm going to try and do this pretty quickly. I don't have a special guest lined up for tonight. So I'm just going to hit, things from the Bungie blog, a couple community things, and then you guys can go back to playing Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, let's get this started. Alright. As always, I represent Destiny.Bungie.Org, a team of community leaders and fans that love Destiny and Bungie. And the first topic of discussion for today is yet another Destiny drawing board. These have been coming out on an almost weekly basis, which is pretty awesome. I'm excited every time I see a new one pop up. This week we got to see the Duke Mark 44. This is a pretty sweet old pistol. It's a big old red thing. If you can tell from earlier, the previous Destiny drawing board weapons have all been exotic, but this one is just listed as a weapon. It is not exotic at all. It's kind of commonplace, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, alright, wrong slide. There we go. So, Destiny, the Duke Mark 44. It's described by Tom Doyle, the art lead. He says, this version of the popular model makes short work of combatants who underestimate its quick draw hollow sight and hair trigger. Tom also described this weapon as standard issue for Guardians, so that, again, that ties in with it not being an exotic weapon. Deej himself says, the Duke might not be exotic, but that doesn't mean it won't get some love from its owner. Like any gun in the FOTC arsenal, it can be customized over time to fit perfectly in the hand of the hero who brandishes it. And of course, when Deej says FOTC, he means Forces of the City, which is something community members puzzled out from one of the trailers. So it sounds like this is a pistol they hand out to every Guardian, standard issue kind of stuff. Maybe when you lose your privileges of being Guardian, you have to turn in your badge in your Duke Mark 44. But anyway, we've also got this awesome shot, from first-person view of the Duke. Tom Doyle says, it's a solid piece. This weapon is most commonly associated with newer Guardians who equip a sidearm in their primary loadout. And that's an interesting thing he says there, primary loadout. So would this be like replacing an assault rifle or something? Is it this serious of a weapon? I was thinking of this as more of a secondary sidearm weapon. But I guess with the 3-weapon layout they're going for, this would take slot 1, where slot 2 would be like a sniper rifle, and slot 3 would be a rocket launcher. I don't know. So anyway, that rounds up the the Duke, like I said, trying to move quickly here. Duke Mark 44. Hopefully we'll see more non-exotic weapons, but I also like the exotics as well. Those seem to tell a little bit more of a story. Alright, so we also, just today, Deej posted a breaking in interview. This was with John Harris, who is a tester at Bungie. Actually, when I got to tour the building back during PAX, me, Claude, and Grim Brother 1 got to walk into the room where all the testers work. And there were guys hard at work in there. You could see them playing Destiny, which was really just a huge tease. But anyway, so John Harris is one of the testers there, and I just wanted to pull one quick quote from the article. He says, "I'm John, and I'm a multiplayer tester here at Bungie. This means I'm one of the guys in charge of testing the competitive portion of Destiny. I'm one part of an awesome team that makes sure all of our sweet new features and maps are working and looking like they should." And not a whole lot of information to tease out there, but it is nice to know that there is a competitive part of Destiny. I mean, it's not news, but it's always nice to get that confirmation that there are guys out there whose job it is to play competitive multiplayer all the time. And of course, he also mentions maps. So it's I guess if you were wondering if the multiplayer was going to be how that was going to be integrated, it does sound like there are going to be dedicated maps just for competitive multiplayer. You're not just going to be playing on campaign spaces. But anyway, that's pretty much all of the Destiny-related insight to get from that Breaking In article. You should definitely read it, though, because John has a lot of interesting stories about how he got into the testing job at Bungie and how much Red Bull he drinks. There's a picture in there of how many the little aluminum can tabs he's got, and it's insane. It's like 600. Which is why I drink water instead of Red Bull. So if I fall asleep, that might be why. But anyway, moving on. I guess the next subject of interest would be the Mailsack. So let's dive into that, shall we? Alright, so yet another Bungie Mailsack. This one was a bit of a quiet Mailsack from the title. But there was a lot of interesting information from it. At least I thought so. Starting out, Deej talks about, they hit this giant Destiny milestone, and had a big presentation to the whole studio, and then they all went to playtest the game again, but they had to reset their characters. Every time they have a new giant playtest, they reset their characters. So Deej says here, with the new build of our game ready to play, we say goodbye to the Guardians we had created as test subjects for a previous version of this emerging world. With the click of a button and a single tear shed, they are committed to nothingness. New heroes emerge to take their place. They set out from the tower to see how their world has evolved. So I think it's kind of funny, how throughout development of the game and testing it, they have to keep starting over from level 1 every time they have a new studio-wide playtest with a new milestone version of the game. It's probably a little frustrating having to play that first level over and over again, but it probably makes them work harder to make that interesting. Maybe there's some replay value to Destiny as well, making it interesting to start a new character, since the people who made the game had to do it all the time. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, Deej goes on to talk about podcast. The Bungie podcast is coming back. That's pretty awesome news. It's been a long time since the last podcast. Deej says that I believe it was him and 4 others. I'm assuming Irk and Hausalon were 2 of those guys. They went into the Foley room and they talked about guns, lots and lots of guns. So keep an eye out for the podcast. I'm assuming it'll probably come out in the next few days. There's been a lot of chatter on Twitter as well from Irk and Deej and Hausalon. So I'm pretty excited. I love listening to podcasts. I do it all the time. I have a fairly decent commute to work, so I put away quite a few podcasts and audiobooks. So I'm excited to at least have something new to listen to from Bungie, even if the cadence of podcasts is still a little bit slower than most of the podcasts I listen to. Should be pretty exciting. So anyway, let's take a look at some of the fan submitted questions in the mail sack. Let's see. This first one comes from bbreezy819, who says, without revealing any spoilers, what are some of the coolest moments Bungie has had while testing Destiny? I cropped out a couple of the answers, but I thought this one from Chase Christian was pretty interesting. He's a senior IT engineer, and he says, walking through a level and running into another player for the first time was amazing. I wasn't sure if it was an NPC or a player at first, and then he waved at me. I sent him an email just to double check. Then we teamed up to kill some Fallen. That's pretty cool. If the seamless matchmaking is so natural that someone who works at Bungie and plays the game all the time still has a hard time telling if another character is player controlled or non-player controlled. So that's pretty exciting. That's cool. Next question. Liam T Live 23 says, we've heard that Destiny will be at Eurogamer in London. What can we expect to find there? And Deej's answer is, if memory serves, there was a fallen captain who chewed through his leash and gave us the slip the last time we crossed the pond. Only one way to find out. So it looks like the fallen captain is taking a trip from Gamescom over to London to see Eurogamer. We've also got this tweet. Alex Bastow tweeted at Eurogamer Expo asking, hey, is there any possibility of Destiny being playable there? And Eurogamer answered back, afraid not, though there will be some Destiny content there. So my first guess is that it'll probably be that same, Welcome to Old Russia demo from all the way back from E3. I have a hard time thinking that Bungie would make an entirely new demo just for Eurogamer. So I'm guessing the Destiny content that Eurogamer is talking about here is either that same demo and the Fallen statue, or it's just the Fallen statue, and Bungie won't be demoing things at all. Since, again, that E3 build has sort of gotten around quite a bit. But still cool to see the Fallen make an appearance in London. I was a little disappointed they didn't show up at PAX, but this explains where it was. So anyway, another question. This one came from Twitter. Trevor Went says, is there a sort of matchmaking system? And Deej answers, yes, there is. In a living social world with heroes, you need a system to unite them. As you fight for survival on the battlegrounds of your favorite destinations, you'll be aided by other brave guardians who swoop in to be your wingmen for as long as you want one. Of course, that's only one element of Destiny's multifaceted world. There are other systems, like Fireteam Formation, for example, that we're building to allow you to play what you want with the people who matter to you the most. So again, this isn't a lot of really new, revolutionary information, but it's interesting to hear Deej describe, party joining as Fireteam Formation. That's kind of cool. Yeah, not a lot of information there, but it's always nice to hear a little bit, especially when it's something super obvious, like Sarge117 asks, will there be drivable vehicles? And Deej answers, yep. Well, Sarge, I hate to complain, but I thought that was kind of obvious from the Pike. But, I guess not everybody is as up-to-date on their Destiny information as most of us DBO members are. But anyway, I wonder what other kinds of vehicles we're going to see, though. Like, so far we've seen concept art of the Pike, we haven't actually seen it in action aside from the Law of the Jungle trailer, and that was just CG. And we've also seen the Sparrow, though those both seem to fill similar vehicle types. You know, they both seem to be speeder bike type motorcycle flying vehicles. I'm really interested to see what other kinds of vehicles we have. I mean, everybody always asks about, you know, spacecraft, but I want to see the Destiny equivalent of the Warthog. What's that going to be like? Are we going to see a Destiny tank? I mean, we've seen the Spider tank, but that doesn't look like something that would be player controllable. So anyway, so Sarge makes a very basic question, but there's a lot more to be revealed there. So hopefully, maybe a Destiny drawing board will show us a new vehicle in the future. That'd be kind of cool. To wrap things up from the mail sack, I wanted to talk about this quote that Deej uses to close things out. He says, "Destiny will be a game that you can fit into your life. It won't be a chore or a grind. We're creating an adventure that will be fun. We're building a world you can visit when it suits you. You won't have to worry about being left behind if you don't clock in on a daily basis. Every Guardian who answers the call to defend the last safe city will get out of their experience what they put into it." This is really reassuring to me because, you know, ever since my days of playing Halo non-stop back when I was in high school and college, I've found less and less time for video games in my life, you know, just between work and other social responsibilities. So it's nice to hear from the Bungie community manager that Destiny is being built with busy people in mind. It's not going to be like one of those games where if you're not playing, you know, 4 hours every day, you're going to fall behind because you're not getting the right gear. So that's pretty reassuring stuff. I don't know. I thought that was a decent mail sack. You know, not a ton of information, but some nice little tidbits. But anyway, so now I wanted to move on and talk about a couple of things that the community is putting together. I guess first up, I want to talk about Karen Olava, who is a cosplayer, and she's been putting together a really sweet hunter costume. If you've been keeping track of her Instagram or her Twitter account, she's been showing off a lot of work-in-progress shots of it. So you can sort of see the costume here and the helmet, and we've featured this shot on DBO before. But anyway, here's a close-up of sort of her bone greaves that she's sculpted. Those look pretty badass. And speaking of sculpting stuff, she's been building the Gjallarhorn rocket launcher. So here's some of the Sculpey that she was baking. It's a little wolf statue decorations that are eventually going to be assembled onto this badass thing, this sweet Gjallarhorn rocket launcher. I'm excited to see how that turns out and how that, you know, goes with the rest of her costume. But anyway, that's Karen Olava's Twitter account right there. So if you're interested in seeing more of this stuff, you should definitely follow her there. Let's see. Speaking of cosplayers, we had another batch of cosplayers featured on the DBO front page. These guys were Argnarok, and I'm going to say this terribly wrong, but I think it's just Inikos. I think the X's are a little superfluous. But Argnarok and Inikos, they're actually a couple. From what I hear, they're engaged. And so it's really cool to see a couple that's able to cosplay together. And they built these costumes and the weapon props that are going along with them. And it's really impressive stuff. I believe these shots were taken at MetroCon in Tampa back in July. So this is really one of the first known cosplayers from the Destiny universe. But anyway, so I've got a couple different shots to go through here. So you see, this is Inikos in her Warlock cosplay with this badass assault rifle. It looks kind of like Red Death from one of the Destiny drawing boards from a couple weeks ago. This is Argnarok, his sweet hunter with some sort of pistol there, and he obviously got an awesome giant knife on his chest. Anyway, got a couple more shots. I love this shot just for the sort of wind-blown effect. I don't know if they had a fan or just got lucky with environmental conditions that day. But it looks pretty badass. Got that tattered cape. But anyway, so that was pretty cool. Like, I really like cosplay. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays of the year. So I've always been a huge fan of going to gaming conventions and seeing the cosplay. I was having a lot of fun at PAX a couple weeks ago, checking out all the cosplayers, and ran into like 4 or 5 people doing Destiny cosplay. But anyway, moving on, there are some community artists that have been turning out some great fan art. One that I want to talk about is Levi Summers. Of course, this is not the Levi from DBO. That's Levi Hoffmeyer. Levi Summers here made 3 very colorful pieces of art. You know, you've got this Titan-looking guy here. Got this. I guess this is a Hunter. Pretty cool. And this one's probably my favorite. This was a Warlock showing off some Nova Bomb space magic kind of stuff, melting some hive down at the bottom. Pretty cool stuff. Again, that was Levi Summers. You can find him on, I believe it's DeviantArt. I couldn't find a Twitter or any other contact information from him. But speaking of Levi's, I just wanted to brag about our own Levi, Leviathan. Levi Hoffmeyer made this sweet image for the DBO front page. We always have a lot of little news sketches that we use whenever we don't have a good image to use for an article. I assume that this is a self-portrait of Levi. Pretty accurate, if I do say so. But anyway, if you ever have a spare moment, you should definitely check out dboTV.com. And Levi's got this really cool project called Mayflower. It's a graphic novel. But anyway, that's not Destiny related, but I figured I might as well advertise that too. Time for tip of the hat. Again, I'm using the same graphic that I've used before because I'm too lazy to make one myself, and my friend did a really awesome job with this one. So, no sombrero again. I'm going for yet another NC State hat. This is not the same one I used for episode 1 of dboTV. But, tip of the hat this week goes to Grand Theft Auto 5. No, wait. Sorry. Xenos and Kermit get the tip of the hat for this week. These guys, I wanted to call them out because they've been doing a really great job of setting up community game nights on the DBO forums. You know, if you've visited our forum, you've probably seen one of their threads. Kermit just recently started up doing a co-op night. He did that on HBO for a while, and now he's spreading the threads to our DBO forum as well. And of course, Xenos has been doing a really great job of setting up community game nights. I mean, you know, Destiny is obviously not out yet, but that hasn't stopped these guys from trying to engage the DBO community in playing together. Because, you know, it could be a while before the game comes out, so you know, no reason to wait. So anyway, so I just want to tip my hat to the two of you guys. Tip my hat, doff my hat, whatever it is, to you two guys for doing that. I really appreciate it. It's good stuff, and it's something I want to encourage other people to do. You know, it's, if your name isn't Xenos or Kermit, that doesn't mean you can't make your own community game night and post it on the DBO forums. But anyway, that pretty much wraps up this episode. Like I said, it was gonna be a fast one because you want to go play Grand Theft Auto. I want to go play Grand Theft Auto. But anyway, if you've got feedback, check out Destiny.Bungie.Org/forum. I posted a thread probably about, I don't know, an hour ago. I'd love to get your feedback, especially on this shorter thread. I'm still tweaking the formula for dboTV. It's an experiment. So let me know what you think of this really quick, short episode. I say quick, but it's still like half an hour long. But you know, maybe next week I'll try and get somebody else to do another interview. I really like how that seems to work out. But yeah, visit dbo/forum and, you know, give me a piece of your mind. You can also check out our YouTube channel and our Twitch TV channel. Depending on where you're watching right now, you might be on one and not the other. But you should definitely subscribe to both of them, because that feeds my ego. But check those out. You can also... Oh, that's some code. So if somebody goes back and looks at that code and pauses it, I think it's a code for Downgate MOBA closed beta. I don't know. I got it at PAX. But anyway, you can also check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Destiny.Bungie.Org. And on Twitter, we are dboTweets, and I am NCSU Duncan. Now, one last thing I want to do is I have another League of Legends code. I say another. I have a first League of Legends code that I'm going to give out on the Twitch chat as a thank you to the guys that are watching this live. There we go. I don't know if any of you guys play League of Legends. Hopefully at least one of you can use that code. League of Legends. That's right, Levi. League of Legends. But if you aren't watching on Twitter, you might want to pay attention to the credits. Speaking of, that wraps it up for this episode. Thank you for joining me. If you're watching live on Twitch, stick around and I'll, you know, be chatting. But other than that, that does it. Thanks a lot. There we go. That's there. There you go. There's another League of Legends code.